Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And we are happy that you have joined us on YouTube live telecast of this particular webinar that we are conducting on Zoom. And as you know that we have started this series since 16th of August and World Tourism Day is coming. It is on 27th of September and it's more than a month that we have dealt with this series. And in this particular series, when it is the occasion of World Tourism Day and tourism is related with something which is very, very important in terms of skills, in terms of hospitality, in terms of vocational education, and also aviation, and the entire business when it comes of travel trade units. So every day we bring some or the other eminent personality in front of you, and they share their views onto different topics associated with this wider sector and industry. Of course, they are the educators, skill providers, industrialists, and also the corporate houses. And in this particular series today, with Feast here, Forum of Educators, Skill Providers of Tourism, Hospitality, Events, Research, and Entrepreneurship, along with our hospitality partner, Sandy Towers from Hotel Sandy Towers from Bhubaneswar, Odisha, and powered by Digital Inspiration Lab, making education and skills relevant. We are happy that we are welcoming Mr. Vineet Raj Kapoor ji. He is the Director-VirtualSoft and the founder of SXILL School. And he is going to talk and share his views with us on vocational education and technology, and specifically when it concerns in the National Education Policy 2020 also, it becomes very important. And as such, we are going through the era of technological revolution, technological changes, which we see in education and vocational education specifically. So let's just straight away go to our guest for the evening and listen to him, understand the things from him, and thereby gain some intellectual from the guest. So put your hands together. We welcome you, Shri Vineet Raj Kapoor ji, and we are very happy that you are with us today. And we want to hear from you, sir. Welcome, sir.
Chitraj, it's my pleasure to be on the platform. I've been here earlier, and first, all my good wishes for Dr. Gulshan Sharma, who's not here attending this today. I hope he gets well soon. And thank you for this opportunity to discuss a very important matter of national education policy, which has a lot of discussions around it because it has been around for 3 years, and people, or maybe even universities and schools, are still trying to grapple with the concept because it's a huge monumental document, and implementing it is another tough thing. Although with in its entirety, it is a very good document which spells a lot of great changes for the education. And maybe, of course, people will have opinions that some more things can be introduced, but let us first see at least some implementation across. Right? So,
Yes, sir.
Right. So let me maybe even share my screen.
Yes, sir.
And you can ask, you can keep it informal. I don't know, there's nothing much formal, but yes, I did put the points on the PPT so that it's easy to discuss.
Yes, sir. We will
Right.
take questions in between or
So,
at the end.
Right. So I'll say I'm not no expert to comment on such a huge document like NEP. So I'll try my best to best of my intelligence. I'll try to interpret things which are still people are trying to interpret. So it could be tough at times, but yes, that's how life is. So let us, okay, there's a short introduction. which basically I found organization called SXILL, which is focused on the skilling ecosystem, which is very much in line with NEP. And interestingly, this was also born right before the NEP. So it was in February 2020.
Okay.
This
Great.
organization was born in February 2020, and I've been instrumental in this as well as another organization called Chandigarh Design School as we move forward. And I'm trying to help the ecosystem, the communities across the skilling ecosystem. Like, for example, the ABGC delegation, I've been trying to bring them together every year to Korea. So that is one of the initiatives to build the community. Today, there was a meeting in STPI about the Interaction Design Association. This is world's biggest body of or the community for UX design. Similarly, for ASIFA, again, which is world's biggest body for the community of animation. So trying my best to see what I can give to the community and help these trades grow. And interestingly, just before this today's like seminar, there was a call from one of my students. She had just returned from US for a small time, and she called that can I speak to you? So we were discussing for maybe 1.5 hours. I was only worried. I was looking at the watch all the time that I should not get late for today. But it was a great learning from her on how skilling. She said that all I am is because of the skills I learned with you. And she's doing very well in Amazon. So she says that finally skills in the end count. See, while I was learning, I was cribbing a lot to my parents. Why am I doing this? I should be doing this degree, that degree, but I was skilling. So I am just sharing her story so that you understand that where all the skill can take you if you're good with just one thing. So she's into artificial intelligence, machine learning today with a non-tech background, guiding engineers from BITS and IIT. That's what her job is. So it's interesting, right? So anyway, so let us move to NEP. See, NEP has two aspects. One aspect is for schools, another is for universities. And I think for universities, we have discussed it often. I can still discuss it. But what I think is skilling has to begin earlier. That is where the crux lies, and that is where everything fails if it doesn't happen. The thing is that, see, I got involved with World Skills in industrial design category. There we learned that in China, in Russia, if somebody has to participate in 2028, that kid is being prepared now. In India, typically preparation begins at max 5 to 6 months before the competition. So can you develop a Neeraj Chopra in 5-6 months for a competition, world-class competition, where you want to be the best in the category? So while the competitors participate in competition, international competition, even before world scale, we see that the junior and sub-junior from China, Korea, Russia, and other countries participate in the same competition 6 months before they are actually going to compete. So that is the difference of commitment between another country and ours. So there are many things that which are great in policy, and we should implement them. So NEP does support that. It supports vocational education right in the early years, maybe from 8th class or 8th grade or something, 8th or 9th grade. So That is very important. Although it does promise that it will happen from preschool, but let us see, at least let us start from maybe grade 8. Students should, it should be compulsory for students to skill. It should not be an optional thing. So at least one skill every student should pick up, which will of course stand them in good stead. So NEP, of course, infrastructure support on tracking the progress of students. So basically, the main aim was to achieve universal access to school education. But in all of this, the main interesting part is one is, of course, National Institute of Open Schooling for people who are not able to continue in the normal, regular education. But the biggest point is the last one about vocational education courses and programs from preschool to grade 12. Because that is where we create a difference. And just before that phone call, again, I was maybe for another hour discussing with one of my older students, and now associates, he's into game design and game programming. And we were discussing how difficult it is to find a game programmer. He was very clear that no university education has prepared anybody for game programming. He says everybody who is good has prepared himself through self-learning, because there is no option to learn maybe things like game programming at a school level. And these kind of programmers never go to game development college. They are good enough by the time they've done their 12th, or maybe they don't even finish their 12th. So that is what should be understood by people. It's very big. He says, even if I pay 2 lakhs per month, I can't find even a single person in Chandigarh. And if you feel that this is wrong, send me the CV of good people, because we are looking for them. So typically the people who pass out of colleges supposedly having learned all this, but they're not even worth 15,000. So इसमें सिर्फ गुरु शिष्य style चलता है, where you have to train under a mentor, like in vocational education. That theoretical stuff doesn't work with this. ठीक है जी, should I move to the next slide?
Yes, sir.
जी. So I've just put together these slides. I'm also reading them as you are reading. So
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because it was like continuously meeting with there even till now. So second was attaining foundational literacy and numeracy, so which is an essential prerequisite to learning. So that is a salient feature, and which is quite obvious. So basically, foundational literacy and numeracy means a person should be able to do their daily calculation. That's it. That's about it. So foundational aspect of literacy and numeracy should be there. They should be able to like do whatever they need, and we should be able to count their money, of course. Then reforms in pedagogy. These are certain things which were really path-breaking, because at least on paper, it is about critical learning, experiential learning as a first step, then increased flexibility and choice of subjects, which basically comes through no hard separations between art and sciences.
Right.
I really hope this has already started, I hope, because this is very important. When we were learning, we were like, when we go to science, we totally missed out on maybe learning psychology, on philosophy. There's so many things students should have learned. So no hard separation between art and science, between vocational and academic streams, between curricular and extracurricular. So which means if you play badminton or you're studying something, you should get equal marks. That is the essence of this. I don't know if it is meant that way, but that is what I understand of this policy. That so that a lot of times we see students suffer. Like recently, a student of mine, she just started learning with me. So she went to nationals in boxing and even has played international level. Before that, till class 10th, she got 96%, and now she hardly gets 60-70% when she finished her 12th. Whereas she is a champion grade person. She should, she deserves those kind of marks. She was a champion in studying. She is a champion in sports. So, uh, because what happens is the entire society says, "Oh, he is not a good student anymore." He is, was, and always will be a good student. Somebody who doesn't play international level without being a good student of anything. So
Right.
many people feel that sportsmen may not be good students. They are very good students. Only the best students learn sports at the highest level. They are always a student. Virat Kohli, even today, is a student. That is how vocational education works. That is something people who are learning theoretical education will never understand. Education never stops in sports. And similar things, all vocational things work in the same way as sports. That's why I'm taking a reference of sports. So, like even for example, if you're doing a creative education,
Vicky.
your learning will never stop, right? And of course, they also mentioned that vocational education will be introduced during grades 6 to 8 with internship opportunities. So I'm not sure about the internship thing, but yes, vocational education introduction from grade 6 is great. Internship, because there are certain work norms and rules, and in internship, if you want to do real projects, of course there'll be pressures and stresses. But even if you get good education during 6 to 8, after that you should be able to get onto internships and maybe freelancing, which will be good enough. Right? Can I move to the next one?
Yes, sir.
Gigi.
Sorry for the interruption in between.
Oh, there's no issue at all. I know we are all at home and in an hour, which is maybe a dinner time for most.
Yeah.
So we have to juggle between everything. It's perfectly okay. And then focus on early childhood care and education. So there's a new structure. The old 10 plus 2 will be no more. So 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 is the new one. So that's how it is being structured. So which means you are being tested 4 times instead of just 2 times after 12th and after your degree. Major testing happens. Of course, that doesn't mean I always agree with all of the features. I am I'm not a fan of exams. Let me share. So I prefer continuous assessment and not singular tests. So anyway, but that doesn't see all of the policies are always there for us to agree or disagree with. So there could be some point, but largely this does a lot of good, this policy.
Right.
Right. And then I did put up a slide for university, the university education. So
Gee.
out of all these, there are few which are very important, like National Testing Authority will offer common entrance exam for admission to HEI, which I think MECAT has already been improved as an exam for all creative fields. This has been designed by MESC. I was part of that committee also. So I see that this is going to be a game changer for people who want to go into creative fields. Then the biggest things, I directly go to the biggest thing. ABC is the biggest thing. That's why I put it in bold. So academic bank of credit, if it comes into its full form, will be the game changer. So the promise of ABC is that you can, anything you learn, you can get credits for that and bank them in the academic bank of credit. And when you total the credits for a graduation program, there'll be a digital university that the government expects to be set up by maybe 2025 or something. So that you can just go to the university and encash your credits in form of a degree. It's a very wonderful program. I just hope it comes into shape completely. The only issues will be, okay, how many credits for which course? That will be a little tough part to work out. For example, you go to Coursera and do a course. Should you get credit? Should you not get credit for that? You do just any course from the market. How many credits should it be? But then at least there is an effort to tie down the NSDC courses into credit. So that will be a first start. That will be a good start. So far, they don't have credit. So if you can have NSDC courses as credits, you can just go out there, gather those maybe 180 credits or 120 credits required for the degree, and then get the degree. So you could be learning anything you want. Right? That will actually democratize education. It won't be about universities anymore. It will be about learning.
Right.
So universities also will have to give you part-time credits. You can't have a singular place that you want to learn. It will be singular disciplines that you want to learn. If I feel that a certain university has very good learning ecosystem for psychology, I'll go there and learn psychology to my heart's content, hoping that there is a credit system which is transferable. So the main salient point that I believe is ABC and digital university. Of course, to do all this, there are so many bodies being set up, and Research Foundation, Educational Technology Forum. I think Dr. Kalsi is heading this, NETF. So many important and very meticulous work is going on in the background. There is NCVT and so many things that are happening to enable all this. So this is the core of my discussion. Now we can discuss out, and I'll try to give my opinions. I won't say I can give you answers. I can only share my opinions on any topic people may want to discuss.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, first of all, for setting the introductory remarks and the points given by you. So the very first thing that we want to ask you is, we have seen your school, SXILL School, and you have kept the name as not just SKILL, but SXILL. So what is the reason behind that? What according to you is a skill, and why you have said this name?
Sure. See, basically, of course, my major intention for this was that it is about skill. So like you said, SK becomes, I'll just open the slide so that people can even take a look at what we are talking about. I'll just okay. So I'll just share the screen.
Yes, sir. No worries.
Okay. So this thing at the top we're talking about, because it has an interesting background to it. Being a designer all my life, it was very important for me to achieve a design that I believe in, which basically tells about everything we are. Right. So the first thing, I'm a fan of acronyms, if you understand. This is a first thing. This is an acronym: School of Experience, Illusion, and Life Learning.
Okay. Okay. School of Illusion.
Illusion is basically because we teach animation.
जी, जी, जी,
X is experience because we teach user experience design.
जी, जी,
And
right.
then life learnings because we felt that you can't just only keep on giving vocational education or only skills.
Mm-hmm.
Life learnings is part of it so that people should be able to manage their stress, manage their life, and get into leadership positions. So that was our aim. So that's
Wow.
why life learning was very important.
जी, जी.
So
Wonderful.
yeah. So but on the other hand, of course, we wanted to tell people that we are from start to finish about skilling. It's not about courses, it's not about anything, it is about skilling them. So that every semester, every semester should be uh, something which can get them a job. Every semester will get them some job. So
Okay.
um, since X, um, I think recently Elon Musk copied us, but he
जी,
also changed Twitter to X. Maybe he was very impressed with this logo.
हाँ जी.
So X was very important because experience design is behind all of the decision making that we do.
Right.
So design thinking is behind that. So I wanted it to be X, but also X to have a K. So as that X has a K, so when you leave out the blue part, it is SKILL. You can just see there.
Right.
So
True.
there's a blue arrow which takes you forward, and you can read SKILL in white.
हाँ जी, हाँ जी.
Okay. So that was the intention that it should still look like skill as KILL, whereas it remains a unique identity because skill is a very common generic word. So when you get into establishing your identity, it doesn't work. A generic word cannot work. So it does both of the tasks. It tells people we don't have to tell anything with the brand name. Like even with McDonald's, unless you know it is about burgers, you don't know by the name. By Apple, you don't know by the name that what they sell, right?
जी.
It's only because we have been exposed to the brand for a long time. But with skill, you know what we are talking about,
Right. Right.
right? For example, with Microsoft, you're quite clear what they were talking about. At least it is software.
Mm-hmm.
So, or IBM. So they're talking about business machines right from the start, if you go by the full form.
Right.
So similarly, for skill, you are very clear that they will never go beyond the skill part. They will always focus on the skill. So
Right.
that is how this name came about. And of course, blue is the color of confidence. So we went for blue.
जी, 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 जी. Thank you, sir, for letting us know this. And this is really innovative and creative, yet combination for skills development. So thank you. I would like to ask you another question, which has
Please,
come from the audience.
Gigi.
Okay. So according to your view, in what way can NEP 2020 helps in fostering innovation and entrepreneurship through skills development and vocational training?
Great. Wonderful question because uh, this is where it touches my heart, this part. Because
जी,
I always believe that, see, entrepreneurship, because I've recently I've given workshops in BITS Pilani, in DY Patil, in Chitkara University. Just last Friday, Saturday, there was this FDP on design thinking. And, and the Ministry of Education also held a boot camp where I was part of that in IDE boot camp, they call it Innovation, Design and Entrepreneurship. So what
right.
happens is, in all of these talks, especially when students approach me that where should I start to get the idea?
Hmm.
That is the biggest question today. And unfortunately, maximum people who want to do a startup do not know this. See, ideas only happen when you're like you have certain skills and you keep on working on those skills, and on the way you get ideas. So let us talk about something very basic, right? So when you
जी,
go to say, for example, like you are aware of Chandigarh, maybe other people who are listening may not be aware, but think about the most famous Golgappa wala in your city. So, like in Chandigarh, there is this Krishna Chaat Bhandar in Sector 34, right? What happens is when they start making these Golgappas, they keep on innovating every day with every customer feedback. In a few years, they've reached the pinnacle of what they are doing, and they're still keeping on improving to remain at the top. So they had one skill of making Golgappas, which is very common skill. Anybody can have it, but anybody who has a skill keeps on working at it, keeps on addressing the customer, and finally they will be very good with it. So that automatically converts to entrepreneurship. Similarly, okay, people will say, "Yaar, ye kya example?" So let me talk about this. So if you have basics in graphic design, so you create one logo, and then the second one, and then the third one. So by the time you have created 10 logos, you are probably better at it than a fine arts graduate. So it is the skill which a client or a customer helps you develop. As you work with one customer, with their feedback, you develop your sense. With the second customer, after you work with 10 customers, you have 10 points of view and you are very good with it. So just if you keep at one skill also, you'll be great. That is how entrepreneurship and skilling is connected. So similarly, somebody who जो बचपन से maybe into games and then start learning, क्या होता है जो those kids who are playing games at home, so typically they also start developing some mods, if you know that word, mod. So क्या होता है कि modern games allow them to create levels and play with their friends. So some creative people will develop those mod or modification, and that will be their entry to game development. So when their friends are not happy with their mod, they will keep on changing the mod till the friends are happy. Right? वो बोलेंगे कि अच्छा यहाँ पे पत्थर और डाल देते हैं, छुपने की जगह नहीं थी. Those kind of things. And finally, they will understand what game design is about. So again, there are kids who go out with a video camera and do edits on their mobile, or they will click pictures and do edits. So that's their stepping stone to graphic design or video editing. And by the time they have done that well, some of them are very good with it. They are better than most of the professionals in the market. Right? So that only needs a support system inside the school. They unfortunately did not have any support system in the school which will facilitate this learning. See, learning, nobody stops you. People have been learning and they will go on learning. Neeraj Chopra koi college jaake thodi sikha tha. So people want to learn, so they will always learn. Only the system will facilitate and make their life easy. That's the work of the system. उनकी जिंदगी आसान बना दे, because they don't have to beg teachers for marks. कि सर मेरे को इंडिया के लिए मैच खेलने जाना है, मेरे को पास कर दो. Why should a national player beg? They deserve those marks, right? So the system will hopefully now ensure that those kind of kids don't feel bad or disappointed or even depressed at times. Because क्या होता है वो जाते हैं and then वो fail हो जाते हैं, and then they're made to feel bad about the steps they took. Right from everybody in the cricket team, except for one or two people, hardly anybody is able to complete their education. And there was this huge hue and cry years back when I remember Harmanpreet Kaur, Indian cricket captain, she was given a job of a DSP. When she can lead India at an international forum, she can't lead a Thana. Come on, she doesn't have the leadership skill to lead people. She has. So education की एक बहुत narrow definition से बाहर आने की जरूरत थी, जो NEP will ensure that people come out of the narrow definition of education. तो public mindset बनाना. जी.
Ji, ji. Sir, we have got many questions, but I have
जी,
selected only 3 questions for
ठीक है
today.
जी,
So one question I have already asked. Second question I'm going to ask, sir.
ठीक है जी.
This question is that how can the integration of technology, such as online platforms and e-learning, can help making vocational education more accessible and effective?
Sure. Okay, I'll again cite citing examples is the best way to. So I
Yeah.
won't name the person. So there was this person who is very good with one technology, right? A certain technology is very good, best in India.
Ji.
So once he came to me that I want to make videos through which I want to train people to do this. I said,
Right.
fine, great. Just answer one question of mine. Do you think what you want to tell students does not exist? That such a video does not exist on the internet? He thought for a moment. He said, there are enough videos out there.
Right.
Then I asked him, do you want to add to those videos? Or isn't it better that you create a list of videos and share with your students? Because there's so much information out there. There's the bigger now part is to make just a list and help people learn by themselves. So hybrid model or even online model is so great that we can focus on the real acquisition of learning rather than getting into the teaching of it. So teaching is already happening on YouTube. You just point your student to the video. Okay, you go through the video and then we have a discussion. So
Right.
through the discussion, just right now, my listing of NEP is not important. The discussion that we are having now is more important.
Ji. Ji.
Right? So same होता है education में भी. It's a discussion that brings out things, not the lecture. The lecture is overpriced and overvalued.
Yeah.
Right? I think इससे बड़ी statement दे नहीं सकता. I think
Ji.
we can stop there. The
Ji.
lectures are overvalued. I
Ji.
always felt it, even when maybe 40 years ago when I was learning, I felt it was overvalued at that time. And unfortunately, it has not lost value. It should have lost its value by now.
So, sir, associated with this question, I would also like to ask that we have seen so many apps related to the subject question. Like we have the apps for mathematics, for history, for geography, and other such subjects also. But we have seen rarely any app for vocational courses like tourism and hospitality education. We have an app for like industry. We have my Make My Trip and others for the booking the industry purpose. So for any education purpose, there are hardly certain apps. So why technology? Why not through apps and other things?
Sure. First, one thing I want to confirm with you. You're talking of app for learning, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right.
Learning.
Right. So, of course, app is first, it is a private aspect. So, people will make apps wherever they feel that they will find users or buyers because they have to invest a lot, right? So, you'll find more apps on yoga than anything else.
Hanji.
It has got a very universal appeal across the world. And yoga, in 90% cases, is self-learned through these apps. And yoga is a very vocational thing.
Ji.
Right? It is a skill. It is not a theoretical subject.
Okay.
Even if there is ample theory behind yoga, but people don't even care. Why should they care about the theory? They know it is useful, they do it.
Okay.
Right? So when education goes into that mode, where you're talking of directly of the skill and not of theory behind it, which is very difficult with many people. I have had discussions with a lot of people. 99% people still feel theory is very important. It remains overvalued. It doesn't fetch money. It doesn't get your salary, but still people feel it is important. So there can, of course, and there will be soon apps. For example, nursing is using a lot of apps, but still there is a lot of scope. So nursing rose as a profession in during COVID time. When you get into nursing, there are a lot of procedures that you need to follow. Even if theoretically you have learned them by heart, you won't be able to follow them. You have to play games which make you stick to the processes before they give marks. So those are the kind of things that are required, and investment is required, of course. So any good hotels would be the first who would invest in such an app to train people, and these apps could be in form of games. So basically, you could have a game where you're in charge of front desk, right? That could be a very good name for the game called front desk.
Yeah.
That is a front desk, and within a few days, you learn everything about hospitality. You don't need any lectures.
Right.
If somebody makes that game, and I know the genre of the game because I am a judge. I am a jury with serious games awards. In fact, I'm going to Canada next month for those awards. They will be judging these kind of games. These are called serious games. So somebody should make serious games around vocational skills. Or if the government is willing, of course, they can invest into serious games, because the transfer of knowledge in serious games is maybe 90% compared to theory, which is 5%.
Right.
There's a huge transfer, and then you don't require a support. For example, otherwise, if you have to train people for airlines, you need an aircraft, or at least a simulated aircraft.
Simulation.
If you need to train people for hotels, you need to simulate a hotel. You have to invest into so much to do that. In a game atmosphere, you don't need any investment, and it is a one-time investment of creating 3D asset, and that's it. So the person would know a lot of psychological aspects of the game. For example, when you offer something to as an air hostess, you offer something to a person, and then the reactions, maybe there are 20 random reactions from which one is selected, and you have to react back to that. So it could be a very infinite tree of reaction, and the software would judge whether you reacted well. Right? So that is what you have to learn on an aircraft. Not to be aggressive, to be very polite but firm. So you learn those things through a game simulation. So a lot of simulation should come in, and there should be equal marks as you give in theory. It should not be that, okay, this is a simulation, so this is a low value thing. If we put low value to things, students won't learn. If you say, no, in the end, you have to get marks from 70% marks from theory and only 30% from practical, then they'll ignore the practical aspect. If we want practical aspect to be in there, 70% or 80% marks should come from practical or practice or simulation, anything which is physical. Not by answering questions. Answering questions actually should be banned, but I don't know.
Absolutely right, sir. This is really important what you have told about just skills, 70 to 80%. And because it is right, we have also seen when we study and it is 30% of the practical. So we thought, okay, we'll do it last moment only. We'll not care about practicals more. Right. Yes, we definitely care for theory. You are absolutely right for that. So one last question for this particular webinar. So how can educators and students make the most of opportunities presented by National Education Policy in terms of skills development, vocational education, and technology integration?
Okay. See, from when we talk from the 2 points of view, you asked about the educators and about the students, right?
Yes, educators and students. Yes.
So both are, since both are different segments, but the first part is the educator has to provide the wherewithal. If the educator is not willing, nothing is going to happen. So first, as an educator, we have to provide as many like optional subjects as possible, and that can only happen if we share resources, because there is no school in the country which can offer everything. So you have to have shared resources between schools. So, for example, all of the Chandigarh schools drum up a list of 100 vocational courses, and they take up 5 each, and then across they offer those skills to the students so that it is manageable. it is cost effective. So maybe, for example, it can Saturdays or whatever, one day could be a vocational day. On that day, you should travel to the school which is offering that vocational course, not to your own school.
Ji.
It has to be very dramatically different from earlier times. So these kind of options only can work.
Right.
And I have actually implemented that kind of a thing when I was as a dean at Chitkara University. So my students were banned from coming to my department on Friday morning.
Ji.
They had to go to one of the skills they selected to another department. That was compulsory. They can't take a vocational at our own department.
Okay.
So that model I've already tried for 6 years and it worked.
Okay.
So it is a workable model. It's not difficult. It just needs vision and somebody to drive it with zeal and passion. That's it. Nothing more than that.
Yeah. So thank you so much, sir, for giving such an insight from your side. And this session is really skills oriented and yet innovative, what I can find from your thoughts and whatever you have conveyed, shared with us. So we are really grateful to you that you have given us your precious time. You have come on the platform and guided our students, educators, and others. And we wish such more discussions in future with you on some other topics also, sir. But it is related to innovation and skills itself. So thank you so much, sir. And my dear audience, yes, sir. My dear audience, we are signing off for today with a promise that we will come tomorrow with a new theme, with a new topic and a new guest. Till then, take care of yourself. And once again, Vineet sir, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Ji. Bye-bye.